Hello everyone, Canadian Rail Studios here. Sorry for not posting for a while. With high school out of the way for this summer, I can finally post again. With the recent video of 2816's boiler test and inspection being a success, now will be a good time to explain the history of Canada's national treasure to rail buffs and historians. This is the story of Her Majesty, the Empress. During the 1920s, the Canadian Pacific utilized their fleet of 462 Pacifics for their long-distance and heavier passenger trains. As train weights and lengths increased, the need for more horsepower was becoming obvious. In addition, the need for efficient and consistent high-speed performance was more important than ever on the higher traffic routes like the Toronto to Montreal run. H.B. Bowen, the chief of motive power and rolling stock for the Canadian Pacific Railway from 1928 to 1949, realized that this would require the railway to invest in entirely new and modern locomotives. Bowen had been quick to note the success of the New York Central's new class J1A 464s in high-speed passenger service in 1927. NYC named the 464 class Hudson after its route along the Hudson River. The H1A Hudsons were delivered in 1929 during a period that saw the CBR endure the financial downturn of the early 30s. Despite this, the CBR purchased a second order of 10 Hudsons, the H-1Bs, in 1930. In December of 1930, Canadian Pacific 2816 rolled out of the Montreal Locomotive Works for the first time and was used for heavy passenger trains. It was first assigned to the line between Winnipeg and Fort William, Ontario. Later, it was transferred to service between Windsor, Ontario, and Quebec City, and finally it ran a commuter train between Montreal and Quebec, retiring from service on May 26, 1960. In 1964, after being purchased by F. Nelson Blunt for his Steamtown collection, 2816 was moved to Bellows Falls, Vermont. Later in 1985, the locomotive and the rest of his collection was later moved to Scranton, Pennsylvania, where Steamtown still currently resides. In 1998, Al Broadfoot was looking to find a lubricator for Royal Hudson 2860. Steamtown offered the whole engine to them. To their surprise, it was 2816. 2816 was moved into the BC Rail shops for restoration, which was completed in 2001. For the next 12 years, 2816 would do consistent mainline excursions and special runs across Canada, and even going to the States sometimes. In 2004 and 2007, 2816 would do a doubleheader excursion with Milwaukee Road 261, an S3484 Northern type built in July 1944. In 2013, the locomotive was taken out of excursion service for a 15-year FRA inspection. The locomotive never ran on the main line again ever since because of a certain someone, not calling anyone out. However, in 2020, for the first time since 2013, she moved under her own steam again around the Ogden shops for the virtual holiday train. After it was done, 2816 sat dormant again. Until late 2022, when CP merged with Kansas City Southern and the announcement that 2816 would finally return to the main line and run all the way down to Mexico. With the video of 2816 finally completing her boiler test, I am very happy to announce that our dear Empress is ready to run again on the main line. Some fun facts about 2816. Did you know Canadian Pacific 2816 wasn't the only Hudson of her class to be an excursion star? Originally, her sister engine number 2811 did some excursion runs in Smith Falls, Ontario during 1960. Unfortunately, she was scrapped in 1961. 2816 has several different parts from other locomotives. Her tender is from Royal Hudson 2822, and her auxiliary tender, 35508, is originally the tender for D&H Challenger number 1517. The front whistle next to her feed water heater is actually a Selkirk whistle from 5935, which is preserved at Expo Rail in Gilson, Quebec. 2816 made an IMAX film in 2011 called The Rocky Mountain Express, which shows the history of Canadian Pacific and 2816. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button because I'll soon be catching 2816 herself in Calgary.